Welcome in Ryan Walters, the Oklahoma State Superintendent of Public Instruction, who's been leading the fight on this. Welcome back to National Report, Ryan. This is big. I think I remember talking about this school, the future funding of it. Now it's all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. What do these oral arguments tell you so far where the justices might be leaning?
Look, yeah, now we're finally here. Listening to the justices, and this is what's been so exciting to us from the beginning, of with the justices President Trump has put on the court, they're originalists. They look back at the First Amendment, they look back at the Constitution and say, listen, you have the right to the free exercise of your religious beliefs, the free exercise clause. So we are punishing a school, our Attorney General, our state Supreme Court here are punishing a school because they're Catholic. They meet every criteria. Their application was flawless. It was tremendous. They want to bring better education to our kids. And our court and our Attorney General, Gittner Drummond, come out and say, no, because you're Christian, the answer is no. And as Kavanaugh pointed out, Justice Kavanaugh and Justice Alito, this sounds like very anti-religious motivations from our Attorney General and the Oklahoma State Supreme Court. So I think the justices are very much looking at that Constitution. They're saying, absolutely, we've got to end this war against Christianity that we saw for decades. We've got to make sure that our rights are protected.
Well, it's met with pushback, as you know. Any case that makes its way up to the Supreme Court has got a challenger that's got some potentially strong argument. One of these attorneys arguing against the charter school is Erica Wright, who says the taxpayers shouldn't be on the hook for this. Let's listen.
We simply don't have the money in the state of Oklahoma to be able to do this effectively without harming the schools that we have in place. And those schools are the rural heartbeat of our state. Our rural towns and economies depend on healthy schools. And so when we start taking resources away from already underfunded public schools in the state of Oklahoma, that's a really bad thing. My issue is not with kids attending a Catholic private school. My own child did that, and we're not Catholic, but we felt like that was the place for her to be. But the difference is I didn't go around knocking on doors asking my neighbors to pay for it.
Could you address those concerns, Ryan?
Yes, I mean, everything you heard there is a complete lie. And this is what we've heard from these radical leftists that have entered into our state. Here's the reality. Education, when taxpayers pay for education, it's for the education of their children. Taxpayers are paying to educate their children. And for these radical leftists to come in and say, but listen, no, we're not going to let you go to a religious school. No, we're not going to let you direct where your tax dollars go. It's absurd. It is because they are out propping up the left-wing teachers unions. They are out propping up left-wing woke administrators. Here's the reality. You fund education based on every child. We educate every child. If a parent wants to send them to homeschooling, send them to a Christian school, that's the parent's prerogative. We should make sure that parents have their rights protected. They should be choosing the school of their choice. Do not allow left-wing unions to determine a kid's education. Again, if a parent wants to send their kid to a public school, that's great. But if they don't, and there's better options, we will always stand beside those parents. That's why we're at the tip of the spear here of school choice and religious freedom with this case.
Yeah, and viewers might be familiar with the concept of school choice, or even that voucher system where your taxpayer money actually follows the student. Can you clarify, is this really what is at the heart of this case, or is there something that's a little first of its kind specifically tied to this case?
Okay, that's a great question. Yes, first of all, I would say yes and yes. So first of all, this is about school choice. The reality is this is the next frontier of school choice. If you can choose a private school, Christian school, homeschool, why in the world will we not want religious institutions to open up charter schools? It gives them more flexibility. The Catholics here in Oklahoma say, look, we could serve hundreds, maybe thousands more kids with this model. They put forth a great application. And then secondly, though, I would say it is a little unique. We've never had a religious charter school in the history of the country. So this is a new frontier, but it is so focused around religious liberty. Again, look at Oklahoma Attorney General Gittner Drummond coming out and saying, no, sorry, you're Christian, you can't do this. That is based in anti-Christian, anti-religious mentality. We've got to get rid of that. There is no wall of separation between church and state. That is a myth from the left. It's not in the Constitution. It's not in the Declaration of Independence. You have the right of free exercise, the free exercise clause in the Constitution, to practice your religious beliefs, and that's what's at stake here.
Well, we will see what the High Court decides ultimately when they take a look at the Constitution here and where the justices fall. Maybe next month. We know the Supreme Court rulings like to come out in June. Ryan Walters, in the meantime, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your side of the story. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.